everyone, hey all, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be taking a look at who I consider to be the first lady of Transformers. Now, yes, we did have Alita 1 and her team show up in that one episode, but I think for being prevalent and predominance, we all know that the true first lady of Transformers was none other than Arcee. This is the new Earthrise Arcee, and she's going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light 'em up, baby. And hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers Collectors NL, The Autobot Family, Transformers vs. G.I. Joe vs. DC Universe vs. Marvel, and Autobot City Central, as well as all of my social media links. All of that whole mouthful, all those links are in the description below. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring. Use the donate link, or of course, hit the join button right here on YouTube. Become a channel member. And this is the new Earthrise Arcee. If you are interested in her, you of course can check out availability on her, as well as other Transformers and collectibles at the Big Bad Toy Store. Link in the description for that for you. How good is she really? Well, that depends. We're going to compare her to her earlier Generations iteration, and there's a lot here to like. Is she perfect? No. There's a lot here to like, and there's a couple of things that are a little bit annoying. We're going to cover it all when we head over to the table and take a closer look at her. And it's amazing to me that just a few short years ago in our collections we had really no version of Arcee, and then we were lucky enough to get the Generations. I looked at the Generations a long time ago in episode 76. And we're going to kind of use her as a comparative analysis here. That's why we have her right here. But since then, we have gotten other versions of Arcee. We, of course, got the Takara Legends version. We've gotten the Cyberverse version. We've gotten one, I think, for maybe RID, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken there. I'm not sure. We've now, most recently, gotten, of course, the Earthrise iteration of Arcee. Now, you'll notice that both of these offerings are in vehicle mode because we've already looked at the conversion of this mold going from robot to vehicle when we looked at the Galactic Odyssey Paradron Medics in episode 778 and Lifeline. So, now we're going to do the reverse to have both methods kind of documented here on the channel. Since we've done robot to vehicle, we can do vehicle back to robot this time around. I am going to use kind of reference points of grades as we go through here, but before we get into any of that, we need to look at the packaging first. Yes indeed, and here we have Earthrise packaging. Of course, it's typical Earthrise on this side. We have the product images here on the back as we always do, and over here, some beautiful artwork of Arcee, the way she appears in the Siege kind of Netflix War for Cybertron series, where she does happen to have a white face. Note that as we go through. She comes with these pretty sweet Earthrise instructions. She has stats right here. They're actually pretty high. She's pretty high ranking for whatever they mean. It looks to me like the sled that she can stand on, we'll call it, is a little bit of a different configuration than the one that I showed when we looked at the Paradron Medics and Lifeline. I'll show that, of course, once we get to it. And she comes with this nicely molded opaque blaster. Yeah, it's beautifully molded. It's not exactly clear, but I don't know. This should have been painted, in my opinion. Which do you like better? I find the Generations more visually interesting. To be fair, I also think it's way more sleek than the Earthrise. And to be fair, I think that the Legends, which is more G1 colored, is even better than this. But I do think the stronger car mode goes to the original Generations one. The new one looks a little more bulky than I would like, and as Starscream Wife pointed out, the matte finish isn't as nice as the gloss finish on this sleeker model. Personally, I like that we have more robot mode incorporation in the Generations. So that's just my take on it. I prefer the Generations, to each their own. I don't know if it's really a bad choice here. But before we look at any of the grades and any of that stuff, we're going to do the conversion, the transformation first, because that gets us to the robot mode, and that's where we have more things to discuss for sure. And so it's time for us to jump into the transformation, and I'm going to do kind of part of it here, and then we'll get her stood up and I'll show you the rest. And I find the easiest way to do it is really to start to unfold things. Most of it is easy. There's one part that I find to be a bit of a nuisance. I will note that there are little panels here on the side that's part of the door. I did not remember to take them out when I done the transformation for the Paradron Medic. That was totally on me. It's an easy little flap that it's too easy to miss. Let's put it that way. In terms of her blaster, you can store it up here. It's supposed to stay in like this using the rectangular peg on the side, but I find that very loose. So what some people do, what Ninja Bill does, is uses the handle, and that seems to work a bit better. She still rolls just fine. In terms of the look underneath, this is basically what you should have underneath, though the head probably should be turned around. But basically you have the arms put back and you have the legs sort of folded up a la like Salvia Promenon or Euporium or Azalea, I think was the other one, and the MMC versions. The legs are very similar to that. Speaking of which, I find the best way to sort of start is to kind of pull the legs out just to loosen things up. Once you pull those out, you can put down the feet, and really you're starting to bring the backpack up. You're sort of bringing it out on a little tab in here, and then you're folding it up, folding these panels in, fold these in, and then you should be able to, once this is out enough, rotate it around. When you rotate it around and bring it up, you have two little rectangular slots there. There are two little tabs right there on the rear fenders that you just folded in. They should be able to tab in there. You'll notice that that rear spoiler came out again. It always comes out. Always comes out. I might even be trying to put it in the wrong way. I'll have to do that after. But basically now we should be able to take her and stand her up. Of course she's going off screen. Oh, and we can rotate the thigh and rotate the thigh. I'm naturally going to readjust things and then we'll do the rest of the transformation. Okay, so now that we've got her legs down and turned around and her feet out, and of course she stood up, we have her backpack up and pegged in on the back. It's pretty easy from here. I like to bring the arms forward just to give me room to work. Then we can also take her blaster out. We can use the hinge in here to bring this down behind her, flip in and flip in the kind of front tire pieces, bring them down behind, put the arms down, and if you want, you can take her blaster and put it in her hand, and really, ooh, if I can do this, if I can get her to stand, there we go, boom, in the end, here we have Arcee in her vehicle mode. I said, for the Paradron Medic that the transformation was about an 8, it's about the same here. It's about an 8. It's fine. It works just as well on this as it did on that. I will also note that you can, of course, remove this back piece if you don't want the backpack as large. You untab it and you bring it down, and then you basically take it out from in there. There is a button over right here that releases this white piece, and we're going to focus on that. But if you just want Arcee with a smaller backpack, oh, I did forget one piece of transformation. This front piece here, it flips down behind her head. If you just want Arcee though with a smaller backpack, man, you could totally do that. What about that backpack though? Well, you take that backpack and you open these out. They are very tight to open out. You also flip out that panel again, and you flip out that panel again, and you bring this all the way down and in. If you didn't have it flip down this way, flip it down that way, and then you can stand this up. It's kind of gone out of screen there, but you stand this up as her skid, and she looks like this on it. I don't know, some people think it looks cool, I think it looks awful. I think that she benefits from parts forming so that she doesn't have a huge backpack. But this is, I don't think that this is a great use of it personally. Now for the elephant in the room. Now for the comparison. Well, luckily we start things off pretty easily here, because in terms of coloration, in terms of paint apps, The original Arcee I said was a 9 because she shouldn't have the black. Though I like it. I find it makes Arcee look, you know, tough and dangerous, rugged, and like it takes away from that kind of traditional cutesy, pure kind of white and pink motif and gives her a bit of edginess. So I like it, but it of course isn't quite G1 accurate. There's an argument for both of these. I'm not one of these guys that looks at it and says, oh yes, but both have a place because one is from one continuity and another is from another continuity. Look, it's Arcee. We know what she looks like. They're all going to be measured by G1, so I'm going to measure them by G1. It is what it is. And in that regard, while the Earthrise Arcee is definitely a 10 in terms of the Siege War for Cybertron animation, in G1, her face is actually more the color of the Generations. So, there is one inaccuracy that I can really spot on the Earthrise. The other one arguably being the coloration of her feet. I think her feet are probably supposed to be white and the little ankle pieces are supposed to be pink, I think. Either way, it's pretty good. And I'm going to say that it's close on perfect. I'm going to say the Earthrise is a 9.75. So, in terms of looks, the Earthrise actually wins for paint applications. But for me personally, I think I like the silhouette and the addition of the black on the Generations. That's a personal thing. Objectively, the Earthrise takes the win in terms of a score for paint with a 9.75. What about the articulation? Well, both have excellent articulation, but there are certain limitations with the Generations. Notably, the Generations' hips don't go out as far unless you kind of finagle the transformation joint. What about the Earthrise? Well, the Generations I said was a 9 for the articulation. No, I'm sorry, a 7.5 for the articulation. I'm looking at the wrong number in my notes here. And I said that the Lifeline version was an 8.5 for articulation. This one should be an 8.5, but I did discover something that kind of pops it up ever so slightly. If we start from the top and work our way down, we have a head that can go left and right. It doesn't really look up and down. The Generations does look up and down. Better head articulation on the Generations. Can you interchange this head with the Generations? I think so, but it's not comfortable. The arms can go up and down. If you can kind of get them out to the side a little bit, they'll go all the way around. Like they'll do it, right? We have a super deep elbow. I love that. The wrist can go in and out. I'm not really sure why. I guess you could use it for transformation, but there's no real need for them to go in and out. This one has a waist, which I very much like. The Generations does not have a waist. That's unfortunate. Arms can go all the way out and up over her head. The hips go out to there. It's still not perfect, but it's better than the Generations. We have leg all the way forward, not back a ton. We have a super duper deep knee, so does the Generations. Now, I didn't think, and I said this on the Paradron Medic. Do I have these the right way now? I think I take that out of her hand. Actually, I think I'm going to do it this way. There we go. The ankles, I have learned, do in fact have a bit of tilt. I said with the Paradron Medic that it didn't, but yeah, no, she has ankle tilt, which I think is nice. Her stability is okay. She also has the thigh swivel extremely, extremely tight. I'm going to say that the articulation, though I said 8.5 before, I'm going to actually say it's a 9. So we have a 9.75 for the paint apps. We have a 9 for the articulation. And her blaster, if you want, it can very indelicately store back here. I'm going to call it on her lower waist, but it's really not her lower waist. We know that her blaster, unfortunately, uncomfortably sticks into her a rectangular slot on her butt. But trying to get this in, not fun. I'm going to try and put that in there and just show you what the storage is like. With her turned to the side, I can say that this is the most awkward, uncomfortable storage I've ever seen in my life. So, final analysis. And so what can we say in the final analysis when we run the numbers? In terms of paint applications, I said that the original Generations Arcee was a 9. I said that I liked the kind of black because it made her pop. It made her look a little more, I don't know, formidable, I suppose. The Paradron Medic was a 10 because it looked very much like the G1. This is a 10 if you compare it to the War for Cybertron series, but you know what, let's be realistic. Overall, as a version of Arcee that we all know and love, it is A solid 9.5. I wish the face was the right color. Arguably, the feet should probably be white and the little ankle pieces should be pink. I think, I'm not sure. But it's a solid 9.75. Very close on perfect. The articulation. On the original, I said that it was a 7.5. On the Paradramedic, I said that it was an 8.5. Honestly, though, I left out the ankle articulation. It should probably be a 9. This is a 9. The articulation undoubtedly is better, even if the head is more limited. The transformation on the original, I said, was a 9. On the Paradramedic Lifeline, I said was an 8. And I think it's an 8 here. It's an okay transformation, but, I mean, it's definitely not the best way. It's you know, exceedingly a shell former. I like that the original generations incorporated more of the robot actually into the car. I liked that better myself. So, at the end of the day, obviously, the objective win for an accurate RC is definitely going to be the Earthrise / Kingdom. But, that being said, I don't think the Generations is bad. I don't think the Legends is bad. Honestly, I don't think the Cyberverse is bad, though we haven't looked at that. And I don't think the Earthrise / Kingdom is bad. It's a matter of what it is that speaks to you as a collector. For me, subjectively, I think I like the Generations better. Objectively, I think that the Earthrise probably takes the win in terms of look and in terms of articulation. And that might be enough, 2 out of 3, so to speak, to give the Earthrise an overall objective win. And here we are once again, and here she is, and things to like. First, the coloration. Other than the face just being a stark white, the coloration is perfect, or close on perfect. The backpack, yeah, that's atrocious, but we'll get to that in a minute. So I like the look of her. I like the articulation. It's all very functional. She could score a ton of really dynamic poses. What I don't like, I do not like the robot weapon storage on her butt. I think that's poorly done. On her thigh would have been way better, kind of like with the Generations. Huge, atrocious backpack, and this piece likes to just pop out that, I don't know what you call it, fin on the vehicle. Loves to pop out. I like that this piece can parts form and come off. I don't like the sled thing it becomes. It's not for me. I don't know, yeah, it's not for me. And without it, you really can't transform her because 2 of the tires are on that. I almost wish that there was a way that the tires were somehow incorporated, or little rollers at least on the leg, so that if you wanted to transform her, say you lost this backpack piece, you could do it. She is good, especially if you don't have an RC. It is, like, should you replace your Generations for her? That's totally up to you. I don't feel like I want to replace my Generations with her, but I can't argue people who do. The waist is nice. The ankle tilt is nice. The paint is nice. There's a lot here to like. I'm so torn. Honestly, I think that the Generations is good. I think the Legends is good. I think the Cyberverse is good, though we haven't looked at that yet. And I think this is good. I think it's fine. I just don't like, and I don't like the way that this comes off and like flips around, and then you got to angle it down like at a 90 degree and then bend it in. It's weird. It's not, I don't know, it's not for me. But I'm not trying to be hard on it either. Like, this is one of those that's so hard because objectively speaking, the scores are quite high for it. Subjectively speaking, I don't think it's quite the RC for me. Let me know what you think about RC. Maybe she's the RC for you. I love it when you guys come by and give me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring. Or, of course, hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. While you're at it, man, stick around, have some fun with us, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every single day, man, you do make a difference. And I look forward, baby, to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams, on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres of the Old Fashioned Way, baby, right here, inside the videos.